I watched Matrix ages ago.
Yeah.
In Russia, but I started from 3 and then I watched 2 and 1 randomly, and he's like, no, we have to watch it again properly. So we started first one together, and then he went to sleep, and I woke up and I couldn't sleep, and I finished it. That was like one of our first fights.
Really? Yeah, people get so serious.
So strange,
about it.
right?
People get so serious about it, yeah. And you can't deny them of that experience.
Like, I said that now. And
I saw her face and she was just like, you're like, I want to watch it. And you're like, we were supposed to. And I was like, oh, the light's out. Oh my God, I don't want to be here. Why are we doing this in my house? You couldn't have picked a different setting. Now there's bad juju.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Well, here's Becky. My experiment of doing cocktails on a podcast, very first one.
Yeah.
With Becky Roebuck, who works for TikTok. Mm-hmm. You employ people for TikTok?
Yes, I hire the team that work at TikTok in the corporate office.
In Australia?
Australia, New Zealand. I'm actually in a global team. So I do essentially everywhere, but I've grown the Australian and New Zealand business because this is where I'm based, and I do some roles in Singapore at the moment, but I'm in a global team.
Okay.
Yeah, that's recent, so yay.
Yay. And then you're the winner of BNT Women in Media.
Yes.
Yes, in 2022.
Yes, I am.
Which is a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
And you're also certified Bikram yoga teacher.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yes,
Okay,
I am.
Your turn. Introduce yourself.
Okay. I'm Becky. I am a daughter and a sister and a best friend.
I love that. I read that on your Instagram.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I have it there with myself doing a cartwheel. It's not me. It's an emoji.
It's so... you know what's interesting? I went to this LinkedIn workshop recently, and there was it was from Franklin Women. They organized it at Sydney Uni, and one of the women, she asked, "Is it okay to put that I'm a mom on my on my LinkedIn profile?"
Yeah.
So I love how, when you introduce yourself, that's the first thing that comes.
Yeah. What was your response to that? I'm curious.
Well, the lady who was facilitating the workshop, it was basically it was for health professionals, because health professionals don't they don't really have LinkedIn's.
Yeah.
Because everyone kind of knows
it's more
them. It's more like corporate thing. And yeah, she said we should embrace that.
Yeah. I think so, definitely. I think especially a shift in the world might have happened after COVID, because I'm on LinkedIn quite frequently, and I saw a lot of people change their profile pictures to not be like the corporate headshots that they have, but to have more work from home kind of attire. And there was that breakthrough where people combined real life with their work life, because everyone was at home and your work became your home, right? And so now we have parents at our workplace who block out time for pick up and drop off. I know that, you might do that with your work, because the reality is people have lives. So we don't need to be this much time, I'm going to pretend I don't have a life and be stuck here.
Yeah.
So I think it's great that people are embracing that. And I think, people should consider themselves as to who they are as people and use that as their first description.
Yeah. So you said that you're a daughter. I want to go back to that. Would you please tell me about your family and your childhood?
Yes. So I'm a daughter of an immigrant woman. My mum is from Shanghai, China. She is the best human in the world. I might be a little bit biased, but She definitely is. She came here when she was 24 years old from Shanghai on her own. She spoke no English. Her mom was quite like love Chinese culture. Maybe you can relate, seeing as you're Russian, but Chinese culture is the love is big and the love is strong, but it's tough.
Yeah.
And it's shown in a tough way. It's not so affectionate. It's not warm. They want the best for you, but they're going to show it in what some might consider a tough love. So she was sent here. She also wanted to have like half mixed race children, so she was also fulfilling a dream of hers.
That was her thing.
That was her thing. She wanted to have mixed race children. So she came here when she was 24.
Isn't it amazing? It's like, I don't like anyone in this country. Let's
yeah. Let's go and mix my genes.
Yeah.
And so she came here. She worked in like in a sandwich shop, and she lived with this, I believe, like a Filipino couple, and was worked there. Didn't really understand English. She met my dad.
Okay.
She met my dad. My dad, my biological father, was an orthopedic surgeon. And you know, she was a bit young. She was quite a bit younger than him. She was his third wife. So I'll go into my family because it's super complicated. But they had my sister and I. My grandparents came over when I was 2, and so they helped my mum look after her because she was a kid. She's still a kid at that age, and my dad was not around so much because he was so busy because he's an orthopedic surgeon. And so she was quite young, and my dad was a fair bit older than her. So my mum and my grandparents really took a big role in looking after my sister and I. My father passed away when I was 10 years old, which is young enough to not really understand at that age, right? Like, you don't really understand the gravitas when you lose someone that young. Yeah. So my mum is kind of like mum and dad. So she's wonderful. And I have a sister who's 2 years younger than me, who's my favorite person in the world.
Does she look like you?
Yeah, a little. We have similarities. I think if we're next to each other, not so much. But when we're separated, people will be like, "Are you sisters?" Yeah. She's taller. She's very lean. She's more fair than I am, but we have some similarities, and it depends on the person. But yes,
okay.
Some would say, and so it's always been like the three of us, mum and 2 daughters. A few years after my dad passed, my mum met my papa, a man I call Papa, who is legally my stepfather, and he has 3 sons.
Wow.
He has 3 sons and we're all really close, which I think is very lucky of us. I don't know if step families are always so lucky to be so close, but we're very lucky. We also have, there's half brothers and half sisters on both sides. So we've got a huge blended family.
Because you're meeting them today for lunch, right?
I'm meeting them today for lunch. Yeah.
And you said, what was that show that I haven't watched? That is like
the Brady Bunch. Okay. So I like the Brady Bunch because it's mum and 2 girls and dad and 3 brothers. Wow. So we're very close. We love each other very much. We're very fortunate to be super supportive of one another. We all met when I was maybe 13, so it's been 20 years. And they're the best.
Did you have any resentment when, your mom started dating your stepdad?
No, because I think when someone passes, you just want your mom to be happy. It's a different story. Nothing's happened. And it's no one's fault. And like my mum and my sister and I, oh my gosh, I'm going to get emotional because every time I think about my sister and I, it was my mum and she was by herself and she worked so hard and she's such a strong woman. And I think we just wanted her to be happy. Yeah. And she really gave us like all our good traits. And so, I'm sorry. It's my mom. Oh my gosh, I cry every time I think about my mom. And then my mom just yells at me for being so sensitive. And then my tears go right back into my head. But we just wanted her to be happy. And so when she met and he's the best man. My stepfather, Brian, couldn't have asked for. I couldn't have dreamed of a better stepfather, and so I'm so lucky.
Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I feel so lucky.
Yeah, I think supportive families, I feel like they really shape us.
Yeah.
Was your mom? So I want to now go into your professional life.
Yes.
You've achieved so much at such a young age, and it's like, did you have, because I feel like people who are immigrants, they often, I'm an immigrant, right?
Yeah.
They often put a lot of pressure on their kids. Did you have that?
Yes.
Like, did your mom say you're going to be a lawyer, doctor, and engineer?
Yeah.
Was that?
Look, I had half and half because I'm half Eastern, half Western. So my mum was tough on us, and she was very much like, just get through the study, get to uni. Once you've done uni, do whatever. It's different now. People don't have to go to uni, but like when I was, the mentality was like, you go to uni, that's the only way you're going to have a shot at perhaps being successful. So we did tutoring. My sister and I both went to selective schools. They're like schools you have to do an exam to get in. Yeah. So we did all of that, and we had pressure on us for that. But we also had my brothers and my dad who came from a different mentality. So my dad kind of grounded my mum in that. That's but we all went to uni, and so the five of us all went to different universities and studied different things. And I think there was initially the be a doctor, be a lawyer, but then after some time, I think, both the parents just wanted us to get a degree and just do something good with our lives.
What did you study?
So I studied human resources and psychology.
Okay.
I've always taken an interest in like the brain and people. So I really enjoyed that part of it.
And then you went into recruitment.
Yeah, I straight away went into recruitment. It was actually my stepfather who, my supervisor.
Yeah. So it's comfortable for you, Nisa.
Yeah, I'll do this. It was actually my stepfather. I was tossing up between whether I wanted to do nursing or HR and psychology, and my stepfather gave me both of those because he's like, you really care about people and you're really good with people. And so I ended up doing the psychology because I wanted the brain. I wanted the brain stuff. But I went straight into external recruitment, which is like very heavily sales focused. Okay. And then, so that's like the recruitment agencies who hire for companies. So that's very sales focused. And then I went into internal, which is within a business, kind of what I do now. And I've been in recruitment essentially my entire career. So yeah, I don't even know anything else.
How do you, so it's interesting how you mentioned about the degrees and how now you don't really have to have one to have like a successful career. For example, in Russia, where I'm from, it's like if you don't have a uni degree, that's it. Yeah. Unless it's like I think it's changing now, I'm not sure, but I feel like unless it's a very creative field, people kind of trust you more. It's kind of like... Yeah. Whereas my partner, David, he has a very successful career as well here, and he only finished high school. Yes. So it's very different in Australia when you hire people. Do you care about degrees at all?
I don't. I think, as you said, times are changing. I think now there are so many successful avenues for people to have great careers without it. Like you could be a podcaster, right? You don't need a degree for that. You could be a creator, something in social media. I think probably there are some industries, like obviously a doctor, you'd need to go through the required training. Lawyers would need a degree. But I think for the most part...
You want them.
There's so many things online, and people make and have such big successes without that proving that you may not know it. But I definitely think 10, 15 years ago, that was very different. Because when I went to high school and university, it was almost like, you could not be successful. And then the people who just came out of uni, like your partner, proved that wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't care at all.
What do you... Did it change before TikTok and now at TikTok at like what you look at when you hire people? Or was it always like, do they trust you and it's always your call? Or is it like some guidelines?
I think there are some guidelines. I think with like talent acquisition, it's like you're trying to find the right person for the right time for that certain company. Okay. So it's changed over time at TikTok. I think there are some consistencies, like TikTok is consistently evolving and adapting as a business. So we have to find people who are agile. It's a very creative and innovative brand. Yeah. So we generally find people who like that type of stuff. They enjoy the content and they enjoy the platform themselves. People who want to be in that sort of space. And I think it just depends on the time. But every company is different. Every company is different. TikTok generally will find people who are like creative, innovative, agile, hardworking. And I think progressive is one as well, because TikTok's very young and they're so super progressive, the audience.
So I was thinking about it recently. I was on the train and I saw in the news that Australians' retirement age came to 67. Which is insane because in Russia it used to be, I think 60 for women and 62 for men. Yeah. So it's like such a big difference. And I work with the older team at Macquarie. Yeah. They're like 55 plus, most of them. Yeah. And I've never worked with that generation before. It's basically like working with your mom. Like, gosh. So, and I can see what I can learn from them, but also it has some challenges. So I wonder if TikTok have you seen this movie? I think it's called not Intern, but it was about...
Oh yeah, Robert De Niro.
Yes, but it was another one with interns when they went to Google and they were like 40 and there was no one their age. Yeah. Is the case at TikTok?
Okay, that's a great... So diversity is a big thing. Okay. Right, and it's a huge thing for all companies. I think everyone should be focusing on it because I think it's been a certain way for such a long time, and I think things have to change for it to get there, right? So gender diversity is a big one. Ethnicity diversity is a big one. Age diversity is probably my biggest challenge. Just because there's already the mentality that we probably would not hire someone. So a lot of people who I speak to who have more experience, when I first speak to them, one of their first questions is this going to impact? And I think it depends on the individual. I think it's twofold. I think we've recently had someone who's gone through the entire interview process and he's great and he is quite experienced. He's quite experienced. I would say he's maybe around the same age as the people that you work with, but he works at Amazon and he's so good with this stuff. So it's twofold. It's, are they willing to pick up and learn the tech, like what it is that is required? And it's also, do we have the resources and the tools that if they do not have those skills, that we can help them and assist them, because I think it is important and I think we should have diversity everywhere. But we do have a younger workforce, and that's something I am working on this year.
How old is the oldest person? How old is the youngest and the oldest?
Oh, okay. The oldest might be maybe 50 or something, and the youngest is probably like 18 or 19.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How many 18-year-olds do you have?
There's not too many. There's quite a few in their 20s, though.
Okay, right.
There's quite a few in their 20s.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. How was when I saw you receiving that award? I saw it on Instagram and I felt so proud.
Thank you.
Tell me about it. What is BNT? And were you surprised? How did you feel? How did you find out?
So, BNT they're a publisher.
Okay.
They have different publications, different avenues of. I think they do like magazines, and they do a few different things in market. They also hold these award ceremonies, and so they have. Women leading tech. That might not be them, but they have women leading tech, and then they have women in media. So it's in the industry, and then there's different categories that they have. So like they'll have like producer. There's so many different categories. I was in the recruiter category, and the Women in Media award was for. I think it was like excellence or outstanding work in gender diversity. And in the workplace, and like proving that there was a strategy and a way to get there. Okay. So I said this in my speech, I cannot ever take any credit or all of the credit, because it's everyone's responsibility, and not just the workplace but in life, to make sure that everyone is equal. But I have a really great general manager, Brett, who from the beginning, him and I started together. We're like the first two employees.
You were headhunted, right?
Yeah.
Hugh and Brad.
Yes. Yeah. And so we started there together, and he is big on women equality and leadership. So we worked together on a strategy to make sure that we had a certain amount of women at every stage of the interview process, a certain amount of interviewers who were women, a certain amount of like focus, an entire strategy, which ended us having minimum 50% women at every level of the business, which is huge when it comes to leadership at the very least. So that's what the award was for, because we achieved minimum 50% of women across all departments in the entire of TikTok.
Especially for a IT company.
Yeah, for a tech company, absolutely. And women in leadership, I think, in just the corporate world too. So yeah, but an entire village, a lot of people took part in that to make that happen.
How did you celebrate?
Can I tell you, honestly?
Yes.
I did not think I would win. Like, I was just happy to be there.
They emailed you that you were nominated, right?
Yeah, they emailed me. You're part of your own submission. So you are part of a submission process, and you get shortlisted. Right, so I knew I was shortlisted. But I went there, and I had no expectations. So I had drunk maybe like 6 champagnes.
Before going on stage.
And when I won, I was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my God, I have to go onto the stage. And I was like super happy. But I had lots of bubbles in my head. And I was like, hello. I was like, yeah, me. And the unfortunate thing is I'm really fortunate, because I've won awards before and I made the same mistake. I never think I'm going to win. And then when I do win, I'm always drunk. So anyway, I was there, and it was fine because you
had your speech prepared and you're professional.
I didn't. I had nothing.
Oh
but
God.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of public speaking.
Yeah.
And I find it better to be natural
Yeah.
than to prepare something. I find it easier for myself. So it was okay. And I celebrated by, Oh, the person that I'm dating at the moment was in Sydney. We're in a long distance thing, and he was in Sydney. So I went to get ice cream with him, and then I went home because I was going to like Berry the next day for a girls' trip.
Well, that brings us to men.
Ah.
So you're doing a long distance.
Yeah.
Where is he based?
He's London. He was actually meant to.
Sounds so romantic. I love it.
Yeah. So he has relocated to Sydney, but he's very busy. And he's in a global team himself, but he has to be in the country. So he travels a lot.
Is he Australian?
No, he's British. His mum is from Italy and his dad is from Qatar.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think it's very beautiful.
I love that mix.
Yeah.
Does he dress nice? Because Italians would have to, right?
Yeah, well, because of he's always working. He works so much. I've never met anyone who works as much as him, except for my dad. So I think there's something to say about girls going after someone like their dad. And so he works a lot, and so we're trying to navigate that.
How long have you been together?
It's been a year. And he's a brilliant, he's a really good guy, and he's a brilliant man, which I don't say often about men, to be quite honest.
Oh my God, Becky.
No, I'm joking. I have 3 brothers. But he is the sweetest, kindest. He's so smart, and he's great. And I think in the dating world where I have made some big errors in who I choose to have romantic relationships with, he's great. Yeah.
What's your rules? Like, as a couple, how do you navigate long distance?
So we're trying to navigate that right now. So he has recently been promoted in his role, and he's going to be away a lot. Babe, it's like a few days every 3 months he's in Sydney.
Okay.
So
are you going to maybe fly to?
That's what we're trying to work on. And so I came from a background where my mum was like, the mentality was like, you don't chase, you don't do anything, let them come to you.
Very
yeah.
much so. Yeah.
Always be with someone who loves you more than you love them.
That's my grandma. She told me that.
That got me into nothing but toxic relationships.
Right.
If I'm being entirely honest, right? That got me into nothing but toxic, dangerous relationships.
Because it's like the power play, isn't it?
It's a power play, and it becomes...
Because you can't say what you feel.
Yeah.
Right? And you're
exactly.
like, if I'm being chased, then it's a good thing. But in reality...
And normal, healthy people don't chase people to that degree.
Yeah.
Right?
But as a girl, you think, oh, it's good. That's what my mama told me, right?
Yeah, but if you are normal...
And then it's like some strange videos.
Yeah, and then you end up getting stalked, right? Yeah. And I've had stalkers, like, my boundaries... I've got to have a severe lack of boundaries.
I'm working on mine as well.
Yeah. And I think because when you grow up with that mentality, it's no one's fault, right? It's no one's fault. But if you grow up with the mentality and you're fed this information and you're a nice person, that you should never change. You should never change how beautiful and sensitive and lovely you are. But if you have a lack of boundaries, you need to do something about it. Yeah. So...
learning to say no.
Learning to say no, and just when you feel uncomfortable, that's okay. Yeah. To be like, no, I'm not doing this, and not accepting being tolerated. And so I grew up with that mentality. Oh my gosh, I forgot the question. What was your question?
About how you navigate your relationship, and
you
just got a promotion, and how do you...
Yeah, so my mom, she was the one who's like, never chase, stay put. So we were doing that for a while, and then I came to the realization, I was like, I want to make it work with this person. So
I can actually fly. It's not shameful to actually go and see
I'm stable. Yeah. He's the one who's moving around all the time. So we're right now at, I've said to him, when you are in a place for a week, I can negotiate with my work that I can work remotely because I'm also in a global team, so my hours can vary. But I've asked him, like, my conditions are that because I sacrifice being here, I've got a mortgage, I'm sacrificing on being in the office, I'm sacrificing my time. Like, I don't want to pick up and fly and go and work remotely. So I want to negotiate, like, maybe his work will look after it or he will pay for it.
Okay.
And most importantly, the time together.
Yeah.
So that's where I've just come to, and it took me a bit to
actually say
that. Yeah. But I think that's what a healthy person would do. A healthy, normal person.
I was gonna say that, communication, right, is so important between.
Yeah, and you both have to kind of meet. I think I was wrong to just be like, so you're only going to be here a few days every few months. Okay, then what are we going to do? I think everyone has to come in the middle and make sacrifices.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I did. Did I have long distance? I feel like trust, not just in long distance, but I feel like especially
in long distance.
How do you navigate trust? I have some baggage from my childhood that when I started relationship with David, I said, look, I don't want to be like that, but this are my issues and I'm working on them, but I just want to come up front and say that. How are you with trust?
Yeah.
And how are you with trust in this relationship?
Yeah. I think what you did is a really healthy way to approach it. I think you can't deny how you've done it.
Because you can hide it and pretend, and
but
then
it's going to come.
Yeah,
it's going to And when you are feeling it, and if it comes up straight away and it's unexplainable, that would be more difficult for your partner, and that's not fair on him, right?
Exactly.
I also have trust issues. The first few relationships I had, I was cheated on. I've been in toxic, dangerous relationships. I think with trust, I think if you make it known, but I think you can never know if you can trust anyone, right? Only time will tell. I think my approach is you have to decide to trust someone, and then if they break it, just know that you'll be okay. Because I think if you put anything on anyone else, you're going to live a really miserable life if you put any of your happiness or any of your energy and let someone else control that. I have just chosen to trust him. My parents, they were like, he has a wife. They think he has a wife. And I was like, this is not helpful, first of all, parentals. But I've decided to trust him because what other choice do I have? I don't know. And he doesn't know if he can trust me. You don't know if you can trust anyone.
So
only time will tell. So you just it's difficult. It's really, really difficult. And sometimes if he doesn't get back to me in the time that I thought he was going to, my brain is like, pa, 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 and I'm and I've had moments where I'm like, I'm going to unleash. I'm like, that is not productive. It's not helpful. So I think you just have to trust, because you don't know if you can trust anyone at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right.
Even sometimes yourself, right?
Yeah, even sometimes yourself. So I think you just have to trust people, and if someone betrays your trust, you just have to trust that you'll be okay. Because you're okay before them, so you'll be okay after them.
Yeah. You're wise, Becky.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Well, there's one question I was gonna ask about the appearance. I noticed that you experiment a lot. You're so brave because, for example, I wanted to cut a fringe and color my hair chocolate.
Ooh.
And I called them 2 days ago and I cancelled.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I feel like I'm so connected to. It's almost like afraid of change, but I'm not afraid of change in life. I moved countries.
Yeah, you're very brave.
But there is something with the appearance. How do you go with that? What is that for you? Because you were a blonde bombshell, and now you have beautiful dark color. What is that?
Yeah. Look, The dark hair was because my hair was falling out from the blonde. But in general, I'm pretty experimental with my looks. And I think, I don't know if it's just, I'm not tied to being a certain way. I'm very open as a person, and I'm pretty like open to trying new things and being maybe risky. I think that's just who I am as a person. I kind of just like do whatever. Like when you messaged me, I was like, sure. Like I didn't give a second thought about it. So I'll generally do things and like ask for forgiveness later. So I want to try things. I like to
So funny.
Yeah, I do a lot of things. It gets me in a lot of hot water at work because they're like, we know how you operate. And I'll be like, what do you mean? I'm sorry. And they'll be like, can you please? And I'm like, it just happened. So I think I just want to try different things and see what works. I think it's maybe in the process of like figuring out who I am and what I like. I think you should try different things.
So a few years ago, I did my lips.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I had this thing in my head where I felt that people don't treat me as like, you know, as a smart, you know, when I go for job interviews or, you know, it's almost like, you know how we talked about Emily
Ratajkowski, yeah.
Yes, before, and how, you know, people almost judge her, you know, they don't see how smart she is because she's so sexy, right? So it's almost like cancels it out.
Yeah.
So what is your experience with that? Like, did you feel any different?
Yeah. I mean, I get it all the time. I get it because I'm a woman, first of all, and I don't look necessarily too old. I'm also like super bubbly. I'm very bubbly.
You are, yes.
Yeah, I'm really bubbly, and I can be a little bit silly. Like I'm just like chill. I'm like fun and flirty personality, which people automatically like put that into. I get it at work.
The category,
a lot.
Yeah,
People do not take me seriously, or do not like, take me seriously. Well, let's go with that. I get it all the time. I'm very lucky because I have a very supportive team behind me who will back my decision. But yeah, that does happen both at work and from like my family even do it to me. I'm probably the most I just enjoy being like, I enjoy enjoyment and like just being like light. Yes. And like, I'll give you an example, the Taylor Swift concert, when I got the tickets.
We're getting into Taylor Swift, yes.
I was so stressed. Like it was a big deal.
I know.
I'm a huge Swiftie.
I'm not like a big fan of Taylor.
Yeah.
Not that I'm just, you know, I like some of her music, but not. But I saw people like with 3 laptops trying to get tickets. Right. I know it's a big deal. Yes.
Exactly. And so I got the tickets. And I have in my head like 2 families. I have my family and like my chosen family. One's very tough love. We kind of make fun of each other, high expectations. And one is my friends who are very soft, like you, soft and warm, empowering. My friends were trying to help me get these tickets. We got them. I told my family, my mistake. I was like, I'm going to Taylor Swift after like 18 hours of stress and I nearly murdered someone. I was homicidal. I was like, I'm pleased to announce I'm going to I sent this huge message, right? And they just came back like, hey, Taylor Swift, you're a loser, this, and then my dad
that's
said,
brothers, right?
That's my brothers and my family. And then they just like went, and I knew they would do that because they've always been like that. And I'm just like, I'm sorry that you hate fun and happiness, but that's an example. And at work, I always get questioned about whether or not I'm right in my approach or the way I want to do things. Because they're like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you're the right decision maker? So it happens a lot. I think you just have to
live with it, right? So that's your thing.
Yeah, and just approach it in the opposite manner. Like if someone's like, are you sure you're the right person? You'll be like, yeah, I am. I don't understand why you would question that. And just throw it back onto them, because it does show that like it's it's a backward mindset. It makes no sense to question me based on how I look or how I sound. The two have nothing to do with each other. So if someone like says that at work, I'll just be like, yeah, I am sure. Do you have any reasons for why you're not sure? And to my family, I'll be like, why do you hate fun and happiness?
That is so inspiring.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
I'm really, with like acting and modeling. So I used to do eyelashes for like 3 years straight because I just love it so much.
Yeah, great.
And then I had a note like, no. So I stopped. Because I'm trying, to like fit in or whatever that is.
Yeah.
But I admire how, like, the strengths.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, because in your own space, you can cry and get it out and write it down. I find journaling is really helpful. And then you figure it out with yourself first and you process it yourself. And then you come to that. So it's not easy.
Okay, so it wasn't easy for you as
No,
well.
no, I used to get really upset by it. I used to get really, when it first started happening, I used to get super upset and be like, why would you think that of me? Like, and I used to take it very personally. And then I realized it's most likely not me, it's them.
Yeah.
And then so I have spent a lot of time processing how I feel, because I grew up not processing how I feel, processing, journaling, therapy, a lot of work to get to the acceptance level, and like here I am, and then be able to be comfortable enough to then be like, okay, this is what them, and then give that back to them. So, and I'm still working on it. I do still sometimes get upset, to be honest.
Of course. Oh. I asked my 14-year-old today.
Yeah.
Well, actually, last night. I was like, I'm meeting a person who hires people for TikTok. And for 14-year-olds, like...
They love
this is
TikTok.
like,
She should come to the office.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I said to her, send me your questions, but also ask your group chat of your girlfriends. What would you ask?
Yeah.
Becky at the podcast, and one of the questions they said it was advice for younger girls, but I kind of want to do it advice for younger self. Do you have an advice for younger self?
Okay, yeah. I think like love yourself is the most important one. I think when it comes to young people, it's difficult, right? Because when you're young, you don't understand everything. But I think love yourself is the big one. And like trust in who you are and who you want to be. And like be that. Just don't be afraid to be who you are. And want the best for yourself and not be afraid of that. Yeah, just love yourself is number one, and then just be who you are. I think there's no point in being anyone different than yourself, and I think when people are truly themselves, they become the best version of themselves, right? Like, truly, and I think when you're young, people spend so much time trying to fit in, and we waste so much time.
Yeah.
Trying to be a version, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like you come to the end of your life, what's it going to be? Like, does it matter what anyone else thinks of you? No, like you just live a life true to yourself and be who you want to be and enjoy who you want to be. And as long as you're not hurting anyone and you're happy, I think that's the most important thing.
It's, when you say we waste so much energy trying to fit in. So now, it's my 10 years in Australia. Yeah.
Yay!
And I got my citizenship.
Margaritas!
Yes. And I got my citizenship. And when I just came to Australia, I think it's almost up until now, I was trying to fit in. And especially when I started acting even more, it's like, I have an accent. you could hear it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the notes I was given, you have to neutralize your accent. So I spent a lot of money on an accent coach who's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I love him so much. But it's like my accent is still there. I'm thankfully sounding clearer. So that was our goal at the end of the day.
Okay.
But it's like, I think now with that podcast as well, I'm going to be Dari. I'm going to be different.
Yes.
And, I think fitting in it's like I was trying to do the same thing with my work. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it's just not happening. So it's like, it's either they're going to accept you for what you are, or it's not going to work out.
Exactly. People can meet you where you're at. First of all, your accent is fine. Who cannot understand you anyway?
But yes, back to the fitting in, I think it was also the decision I had to make, right?
Yeah.
To, kind of to decide, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And let's just roll with that. And that's going to be my strengths rather than weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes. Well, would you like to answer the Proust Questionnaire?
Sure.
First thing that comes to mind, you've done a lot of psychology tests. It's basically kind of describes the person.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, I've got a weird brain. Here we go.
What is your idea of perfect happiness?
I think loving people and being loved, and just having like healthy relationships with other humans.
What is your greatest fear?
Coming to the end of my life and regretting not being who I am.
What is the trait you most deplore in yourself?
Deplore, like don't like. It used to be how sensitive and emotional I was. It used to be that. But now I realize it's a great thing about me, and I think I'm working on that. I think I'm working on that because I used to really, and I still sometimes I really don't like that about myself, but I think it makes me a really thoughtful, great human. And so I'm working on...
Oh my God, Becky. I'm like...
Is that yours as well?
Yes, it's so much. I'm like, can I stop feeling, please?
Yeah.
That's too much.
I know. It's, how sensitive I am. Because my feelings, we're so big when I'm sad, so sad. But when you feel happiness, it's like the elation.
Yeah.
So it used to be that, but I'm working on that not being something I don't like.
Okay. What is the trait you most deplore in others?
Like just not being a good person. I don't see how you could like just wanting to hurt people, or like selfishness or hurtful people, or like judgment, people who don't want the best for others.
Which living person do you most admire?
It'd be my mum or my sister.
What is your greatest extravagance?
I really like handbags and shoes. That's a little bit materialistic. Or like I would have 1,000,000 Pomeranians. I just love those fluff balls. Yeah, I would have 1,000,000 Pomeranians if I could. Yeah, maybe that. Maybe Pomeranians for everyone I know, whether they like it or not.
What is your current state of mind?
I think I'm healing and growing.
What do you consider the most overrated virtue?
Ooh. Being tough. Or like in showing it in a tough way, yeah.
On what occasion do you lie?
I think when it doesn't hurt the other person, and it doesn't hurt the other person, and maybe they need to hear it.
Is it like washing a bar?
Like a white lie.
Movie.
Yeah, exactly. When it doesn't hurt and they don't need to hear it. Like it's not productive if they don't hear it.
What do you most dislike about your appearance?
I still think I'm quite like big. I would like to be leaner. So probably I've always had like self image issues with my weight.
I can relate to that through my life. Which living person do you most despise?
I wouldn't say I despise anyone. I have, but had to do a lot of work to more come around to, like, I don't want anything bad to happen to anyone. I don't want to hate anyone, but I do want people to get better, and I also don't want anything to do with them. So I think people who have hurt my family or friends, people I care about, those people.
What is the quality you most like in a man?
I want to say maybe kindness or thoughtfulness.
What is the quality you most like in a woman?
Everything. I think for women, we're supposed to be together, like band together, so maybe empowering and supportive.
Which words or phrases do you most overuse?
Oh my gosh, maybe maybe. Maybe is one.
What or who is the greatest love of your life?
It'd be mum or sister as well.
When and where were you happiest?
Always around people I love.
Which talent would you most like to have?
Oh, I wish I could sing or dance. Yeah, I don't have either of those.
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
The first thing that came to my head was how I look. I wish I was like lean. That's materialistic, yeah, but that's the first thing I thought of if we're playing this game.
We are playing this game. And it's Proust. It's not me.
It's not your game. Damn Proust.
What do you consider your greatest achievement?
I think who I am as a person. I worked really hard, and I think I'm a great person. I really do. I think working on that and just keep learning who I am, but just who I am as a person.
If you were to die and come back as a person or a thing, what would it be?
I kind of want to come back as Taylor Swift.
Oh my god. Where would you most like to live?
Either in like a real big city or like a real beachy area. Maybe like a New York or a Dubai or somewhere like the Maldives. I don't like too much quiet, so.
What is your most treasured possession?
It's not my most treasured possession actually, but I just thought of my keychain. It's really fluffy. I really like that at the moment, but I don't think that's my most treasured possession. Right now, maybe this home, because it's my first home and I bought this.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
It's incredible.
Oh, so probably this. Not my fluffy keychain. What an answer.
What do you regard as the lowest depths of misery?
Maybe feeling so lost that you can't recognize yourself. And feeling so lost that you become a different version.
Oh my god, you're so wise. What is your favorite occupation?
Like jobs wise?
Or, well, I think so, occupation.
For me or in general? Oh, we don't even know. You don't even know. I'm asking you like you created this.
Your favorite.
The ones that I've done?
Or maybe you can admire others.
Yeah. I like being like a family member. So I like being the fact that I'm a daughter and a sister and a granddaughter. And also a best friend. Does that answer the question?
I think so. My first thing that came to my mind was firefighters.
Firefighters are cool. There's a firefighter station just across the road if you want to go find them later. It's really cool. I walk by every morning hoping to see one.
I think I can't.
Sorry.
What is your most marked characteristic?
Do you know what that means?
I feel like maybe it's when people think about you, what is the characteristic?
I'm a hype woman.
Hype woman.
Yeah, I'm a hype woman.
What do you most value in your friends?
I think maybe the same thing. I have really support, like we love each other unconditionally and we're always there for each other. So it's just like, but we will tell each other when we're doing things. So it's like that unconditional, but like real love.
How many friends do you, like, what is that circle? How many is that?
On one hand, maybe like 2 or 3 people, yeah.
Who are your favorite writers?
Oh, right now I really like Dr. Nicole Pereira. She's like the one of How to Do the Work. She's the holistic psychologist.
Who is your hero of fiction?
I like Wonder Woman.
Okay.
I think she's pretty cool. I want to be in an island full of women and being a gladiator.
Which historical figure do you most identify with?
Ooh, I haven't thought of this actually. I don't know if I identify, but I really liked Marilyn Monroe. I just thought there was a lot of beauty in her. But I don't know if I identify with her. I can't come to that question.
What are your heroes in real life?
My mum. I love my sister. Also my stepfather, my papa.
What are your favorite names?
Oh, Daria. Rosalie is my sister's name. That's my favorite name. It's all my favorite people. They're my favorite names.
I don't know your relationship like with children, but if you have kids later, how would you call them?
It's been different. So it's just anyone who I love, I would consider those names, or I think it would depend on the person I'm with as well. I'm not too fussy on names. What I do know is I would never name my child after someone I don't like, or someone I think is not a good person.
Okay.
That's what I do know. Holly.
What is that you most dislike?
What don't I like?
In life, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Again, just people who like are not good and just want to hurt other people. My brain, I physically, like I cannot get around people wanting to, like people who are gossiping or judgmental, like just that.
What is your greatest regret?
Not trusting myself and trusting people who didn't deserve it. And like not listening to other people who really did have my trust and value, but trusting people who didn't deserve it was probably my biggest regret, and that lack of boundaries.
How would you like to die?
Oh, probably in my sleep, not knowing, not knowing, in a bed of clouds. I don't know. Probably my sleep and not knowing, painless.
What is your motto?
Maybe be who you are and trust yourself and love yourself.
Thank you, Becky.
Yay!